Okay, so today I'm going to be making stuffed chicken breast, and here are the ingredients for that. I've got 4 chicken breasts waiting to be butterflied. They've been defrosted. And over here we have Mrs. Dash's saltlets spice. Here's something called everything spice. Then we have some turmeric and chili powder. I think that's about all that I'm going to add at the moment. I have 2 types of mushrooms. I don't know if I'll use all of them, but I like the sliced cremini mushrooms on the brown ones on the right hand side. I usually use those. We just couldn't find a second packet of them. I don't even know if I'll use all of them, but that we have. This is kind of important. I like the thickly sliced bacon because it has to sort of wrap around the breast and cuddle the breast, so to speak. So the thick sliced ones are much preferred. Yeah. Okay, so then normally I'd take a medium sized or large onion, but we couldn't find any. So anyway, since they have to be sliced, hopefully these will work. That's all we had in the house. 3 tomatoes, we're going to cut them into roundels, and 3 different colored peppers, bell peppers, and these are also going to be sliced. This is mozzarella cheese. I'll flip it over so you can see what it's like. It's made by Trey Stella in this particular case, and it's about 300 and something grams. It's usually very soft and nice and great for cooking. We have a bit of butter, which I'm going to use to make the roux for the sauce. And so that, I think I've covered all the ingredients. If I come across something that I'm adding in at a later point, because nobody ever knows what the heck comes into my brain, and I kind of go off the cuff and add things as I go along. But anyways, those are the key things that I'm going to add. My wife is going to be making mashed potatoes to go with this, so alright, so here we go. Next thing I'll be showing you is how we butterfly a chicken breast and get it ready to be stuffed. Okay, so my wife has very kindly done most of the prep work for me. So here we have the sliced mozzarella ball. In this one we've got the thinly sliced peppers and reasonably chopped mushrooms. Over here we have the roundels of the tomatoes and sliced onions, which we're going to use. I've left the white mushrooms just in case I feel like adding them into something later. And half a teaspoon of the chili powder. And finally we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of the lemon and herbs. That's the one. And that's it for the powdered spice at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to cover off some of the external ingredients, as I call them, that I'll be using. I'm using Mrs. Dash. This is one of my favorite. It's salt-free and it's meant to be used on salads, but it goes great with general cooking on chicken, etc. This spice is something my daughter-in-law found in the States, and it's amazing. It's called the Everything Spice by some dude called the Flavor God. Over here we just have our Clubhouse, which is very popular in Canada. I think it's almost everybody buys that brand for spices. Lemon and herbs, and the Classico sweet basil marinara. Besides that, of course, we have the turmeric and chili powder. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how I butterfly a breast, and you can see how I put it. So the fatter curved part is at the top and the thinner part is at the bottom, and now I'll be cutting it open. Okay, so for butterflying it, I like to start at the top, the thick puffy end and just start cutting into it, not too low, not too high, sort of going through the middle, and nice clean strokes to, you don't want to shred the chicken, so, and I hope I'm not shredding it right now even as we speak, but keep a little bit of pressure on there and all the way through, and we should be okay. I think, yeah, we're getting through nicely. A little bit of chopping over there, and then I'm slowly opening her up. So there she is, and that is a butterflied chicken breast. There we go, nice heart shape too. Okay, so now I'm just going to pound the breast to flatten it a bit. Especially the thick, chunky end of it. And the middle. I think that should do it. I'm going to flip it over and have a look, and I think that's really good. I think that's going to work nicely. Maybe even this side I'll give it a little bit of pounding. And there we have it. The chicken's being pounded. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the chicken breast, and we'll continue again in a short bit. Alright, so this is going to be a little bit different because we've got my little grandson, 2-year-old, making a bit of a racket in the living room. He's excited about all his Christmas gifts under the tree. So I'm just going to say very briefly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour in some olive oil to coat the chicken. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of garlic paste, and then once that's in there, I'm going to add in all the powdered spices that we've made, and then rub that into the chicken, and then I'm going to let the chicken sit for about half an hour. So that's the next step.
Okay, it just started.
Okay, so now we've got the bacon laid out, and I've got 3 strips laid horizontally and 2 vertically. I'm going to be putting the chicken breast on this way, and then we're going to wrap the bacon around it. So let's see if we can find a good unbroken piece of chicken breast, and I'm going to lay it on over there. So I've got the chicken breast on there, and unfortunately the bacon strips aren't long enough this time around. Yeah, the Walmart brand let me down a bit this time, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But the next thing we're going to do is to layer on some tomatoes, and here we go. And on top of that, I'll sprinkle some of the chopped up mushrooms. And add in some of the hot peppers. I don't know if different bell peppers with different colors have actually got different taste. I don't believe they do. I know the green ones definitely taste different, but not 100% sure of that. Okay, so a few yellow ones, and what am I missing? I think I got everything except for the cheese. Now, in this case, I'm going to put in one big one over there, one big one over here, and a couple of small pieces just to Make sure the whole thing gets nicely covered with, maybe a little bit in the middle over there. Okay, so I've got everything layered on there, and now hypothetically this should work. Unfortunately, as I said, the bacon is a bit small this time around, so I'm not 100% sure. Oh, I'm stuck for a minute. And guys down with a toothpick over here, and I'm going to crisscross these and add a toothpick at the bottom. Like I said, these are a bit short. I wish they were more longer to really do a good job of covering the chicken, but unfortunately we have to do with whatever we have. So there's one and there's another one to keep them together. Next is, oh yeah, I've got to do the top one first. Oh god, this is really pathetically less, the bacon. Jeez. Alright, that's the last time I'm buying the Walmart Good Value brand of bacon. Stick with Schneider's. Oh, this is terrible. Okay, it's really letting me down, and I'm getting quite peeved with it, because now I gotta stick it with toothpicks like a porcupine, and it's not even staying in there. Okay, so that was really sad, because we have an entire layer that's not covered, and I'm going to have to actually lift it up carefully and add a full new slice of bacon on the underside without breaking the rest. Oh, this makes me so aggravated when things don't come together. This is terrible. Okay, and let me see. This is, maybe I overstuffed it a bit too much. I'm not too sure, but anyways, you get the idea of what I've done. And I made a package of it. And shortly I'm going to be spraying a pan with some PAM spray, and we'll be putting it into a glass pan. So we're going to pause for a second until I get that. Really lift this and place it in my baking dish. What we're going to do is we're going to bake it in this dish so that it collects all the juices. After 30 minutes, I'm going to remove the chicken from there, take all the juices, collect them, and they'll be used to make the sauce. And this chicken we will transfer to another meshed net, which will be put onto a tray to collect the drippings, and we put them into the oven again, so the bacon on the underside and the chicken gets better cooked on the underside. So that's it for now, folks. We'll come back when I've got everything all packed up. Do this one. This time around I've used 4 horizontal slices and 2 vertical slices. We're going to start putting our stuff on there as we did the last time. I'm going to start with the mushrooms at the bottom and scatter them around. Okay, next come the tomatoes. And this time I'm going to be, I think I got carried away a bit with stuffing the thing the last time, so maybe this time we'll be a little more cautious with it. Okay, and now the peppers. So, onion. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot the onions the last time. Thank you for reminding me. And I'm going to add those in. I love these peppers. They add so much flavor once they're nicely cooked. And then the red ones a bit. A few of the red ones in there. Okay, and the onions, yes. And there's my dog Budley looking up greedily at the bacon. His mouth is watering. My poor Bud is almost completely blind now, so he's barking to let me know he's there. Okay, so I think that's that. Now we go with the cheese. Okay, but you're adding to the recording. Hush. Okay, these are a bit thick, so I'm gonna break them up this way. Add another small one in the middle. And maybe 2 pieces over here. I think that should be good enough. Okay, so now we start with the first attempt at wrapping. We're gonna go crosswise over here. Yes, bud, quiet. Oh no, what I'm gonna do actually is I'll take these up like that first and pin those down. Okay, then we close this gap up and pin that one down. I've got to remember how many toothpicks I'm putting in there, so when you're eating you can count and take them out. Okay, so the middle ones can just come up like that. Again, I wish I'd bought them from Costco. Those were so good the last time. Yeah, this is going to be a real problem trying to get this around. Just didn't realize that these were so much smaller than the ones we had the last time, but they'll have to do for the moment anyways. I'm bringing the tops over. This is going to be a really messy chicken dish, but well, we'll see when it's finished. Hopefully it won't look that bad. And to bring this guy over, good Lord. Either the bacon strips are too small or the chicken's too fat. Either way. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but okay. So that's the second one. Oh, it's going to open up, but gosh. Maybe I should use string around it or something. The way we do with roasts, eh? Okay, and we lift that in here. Oh, I thought this would be good enough to hold 4 of them, but apparently I think 3 is gonna be the max this thing can hold. We'll have to bake one separately. And I'm so worried these are gonna all open up. Yeah. Okay, stop. Right, so here we are. Everything's all ready to go into the oven. We've got the 3 breasts over here and the one single one in these glass trays. The idea of the glass trays is we're going to collect all the juices that we can, and we're going to bake it for 30 minutes at 375. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fry the onions, the remaining tomatoes, hot peppers, the remaining cremini mushrooms, not the cheese, and some green beans. That'll go as a sort of accompaniment to that. Now in the green beans, in the mixture, we're going to add what we already did, a bit of the lemon and herbs, the everything spice, the ever popular Mrs. Dash. Now just a few drops of the Kikkoman soy sauce and a little bit, maybe a tablespoon of the plum sauce to give it a little bit of sweetness and to allow it to caramelize a little bit. And that's will be our accompaniment along with the sauce that I'm going to prepare. Alright, so here we have all the ingredients being sauteed in a pan, and shortly I'm going to be adding I've been informed that she's added in, including the sauces?
Yes.
Okay, great. So all the spices and the sauces have been added in. We're going to let it simmer for a while until they're nice and tender, and that'll be ready for service. Okay, so the chicken has been in the oven for 35 minutes at 350.
No, 375.
Oh, sorry, 375 this time around. We decided to make it a little bit more so that it cooks the bacon also thoroughly. And what we're going to do now is lift it out of this tray and collect all the juices that we have, and that juice is going to be used to make the sauce. So we're lifting the chicken out of the glass trays and transferring it to this so that the chicken can cook from all sides evenly. We're hoping these 4 fat chickens can fit all on the same tray. Hold on, bud. Okay, here comes the next one. And just enough room for the last fellow to fit in there. And it's dripping with gooey cheese. And there it comes. Okay, so now what's going to happen is I'm going to put the remaining pieces of cheese on each of the breasts, and we're going to pop it back in the oven for another 35 minutes at 375. Okay, so here goes. Some of the cheese has already started to melt away. So just put a little bit on top of each piece, the fattest one being over here. So I'm going to place it over there on top. And we're going to take a little one, put it over there. Another one, put it on top of this one. And one more over here. Or here, actually. This is a bigger one, so we'll cover that with that. And now, all of this is going to go back into the oven. All of this is going to be gathered up to make the sauce. So we've collected all the juices from the first half-hour bake, and we're going to wait and see if we get any more in the second one, and then I'll be adding some more stuff to it. In the meantime, while this is still warm, I'm going to throw in some cremini mushrooms so that they sort of get the flavor of the juice and soften up a bit. Alright, I'm going to stir that up just a little bit so we soak all the mushrooms. They get the flavor of the cheese that's floating in there as well as the juices from the chicken. Okay. So in this I'm going to add in just a little bit of butter. I'm taking it sort of not with accurate measurements, but it should be 1 times butter to at least 2 times flour, or 1 time to 1.5 times the flour. So I've added in that much, and I'm going to throw in, once the butter is melted on a very low flame, I will add in about 1.5 tablespoons of flour. Then let it become a light roux, and then we're going to pour in the liquid from the soup juices that we've collected. Later on, we will add in the juice from the other bake section, which is currently baking, and it's got half an hour to go. I'm just cooking this because it's kind of late on Christmas night and the kids are starving. Nobody's eaten. I mistimed the whole thing, but yeah, okay. So I'm going to turn it up just a bit to get the thing going. Okay, now I'm going to toss in just a little bit of the flour and start stirring it in. I'm doing this on the low flame, so it just makes a little bit of a smooth roux. I'm going to let it thicken a little bit because I've added very, very little flour. This is just to give this sauce or gravy just a little bit of body. I'm going to let it cook a little bit till it gets a little bit of brown. And it's already getting there, and it's all on low flame because you don't want to burn it and make it bitter. just a little bit. Normally there should be a little bit more flour to this, so we get a nice powdery, biscuity roux, but this time around I'm going to cheat a little bit and say, no, we're not going to do the whole thing. So, alright, now into this I'm going to add the juice from this section. I wonder if we can pour it in without spilling too much. Don't want the mushrooms to go in yet, though.
Keep pouring.
Yeah. And there we go. Okay. And I'm going to quickly stir that in so it doesn't become lumpy in any way. It shouldn't, because we didn't let the roux become a nice powdery cookie type thing. I'll be taking a shortcut here, but it's nice and smooth, and that's the important part. And now I'm going to add in the marinara sauce. This marinara sauce is a mixture of sweet basil and marinara. And yeah, I did. I actually filmed it. So, okay, we're going to have to pause because I can't open the damn bottle. Okay, so now having got the marinara bottle open, I'm going to start adding the marinara in. 2, 3. It's got some nice lumpy tomato, which gives the sauce a nice consistency. Okay, how many did I add? I think I added
6 or 7.
Yeah, let me stir it, see how it looks. And yeah, it needs a lot more, so continue with the adding. I think it almost takes in half or a quarter of the bottle. So, oh, not half. I mean, yeah, up to about that much should do the trick. And Bud wants to go back out again, I think. Yeah, I think that should be good. I'm going to give it a taste test to see how it is before doing anything else with it. Nice. Tangy, and that's good enough. So we've added enough of the marinara. Now I'm going to add my mushrooms in there, and again the mushrooms and the cheese should give it a nice flavor. And what I will do is, since there's still 25 minutes for the second cook of the chicken, I'm going to wait, and if there's any drippings left from that, I will add them to this, and that will become the sort of gravy accompaniment with the chicken. That's it. Meanwhile, here are the vegetables that are sauteed with all the spices that we added in. We also added in a bit of the soy sauce and a bit of the plum sauce. So there we go, and that's going to be served on the side along with the chicken. Okay, so here we have the chicken. It's been baking for approximately an hour and 10 minutes altogether. So the bacon looks nice and crispy, and it looks actually ready for plating. It didn't fall apart the way I thought it would. So we're ready to plate, and yeah, should be fine. So here we have it. It's been plated. We've got the chicken on the side. We've got the greens and the vegetables and mashed potatoes to go with that. And here's the sauce, which can be poured over onto the chicken, onto the side, onto the mashed potatoes, wherever you want it. So that is our somewhat strange Christmas meal this year. Well, it's 2020 and strange things can happen. All right, folks, that's it. We are now sitting down to eat.